What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 9 of 45 Minutes of Noise. I'm your host, slash your boy, Chris Pugh, and I'm joined, as always, by my very good friend and Mr. Cynical himself, Samuel Lewis. How are we from my friend?
Oh, I'm really good, mate. I'm really good. Feeling fairly less cynical today. Sun is shining. None of the birds have died yet. So that's pretty good. I can't really complain, mate. I've had a pretty good week. I'm looking forward to today. Quite looking forward to the podcast, all the animals we'll have to discuss. Got lots of things to say. Very excited.
Well, I stuttered twice in the first 10 seconds of this show, so I'm probably doing significantly less well than you. But you know what? Do you know what? I've tried this week, right? I've noticed that I'm a bit lethargic. I am in the morning most of the time. So
Yeah.
I thought there's got to be a way of me getting around this. There's got to be a way that where I can wake up and don't just feel like the first half an hour of my day is such a monumental, colossal effort. So I looked into it a little bit and I read about this concept of there is no great morning routine. You just need to give
A
yourself
morning
something.
routine.
You just need to give yourself something you're excited to wake up for. And I thought, right, that's interesting. So I thought, I'll tell you what I could do. I'll set my alarm for an hour earlier than I usually do, and I'll wake up and I'll like watch an episode of something that I'm currently watching. And that will then, when I go to bed, I'll be like, right, I'm looking forward to waking up in the morning and watching an episode of insert TV show. Just a heads up for anyone who struggles to wake up in the morning and kind of get the day going to a positive start. It's worked wonders for me. It's amazing. This week, I have watched the Get Gotti documentary on Netflix, all three episodes, superb. I've also watched the two episodes of the Jerry Springer documentary,
Oh, is
which,
that any good?
do you know what? It's incredibly fascinating because obviously the TV show was, the lowest form of society, but yet we all
Oh yeah.
kind of enjoyed watching it for us.
Yeah.
There was a time in my life where it was just kind of fun to watch the meltdown, but then as you get older, you're like, yeah, this is just the lowest form of entertainment. I cannot possibly put myself through this. But hearing the backstory of how the show was created, and the fact that actually Jerry Springer started off as a TV show that was just like Trisha Goddard, just an audience where Jerry Springer asks people questions and his producer comes in and is like, this sucks. We need to make it as crazy as possible. And then obviously that's where the fights and the kind of nudity, etc., slang angle and that comes in. And it's just the rise and fall of the show. Really fascinating. So I would recommend it. It's only two episodes, 45 minutes each. Really fascinating. A wider idea though of why I mentioned it. Give yourself something to excited to wake up for, and you will find. So far for me, I've found that it has completely changed my morning routine. I watched Mad Men this morning, the first episode. Amazing. Can't wait to do the same thing tomorrow. So just a heads up for you, if you're listening, the three of you that do, if the three of you struggle to get up in the morning, there we go. Set your alarm an hour earlier, watch and pick something to watch that you've been looking forward to doing so, and you'll find a huge change.
Oh, love that. Love that. Are you going to bed earlier then? To wake up earlier?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm still managing to get like scratching 7 hours sleep. And then I'm just getting up and I'm making sure I'm up like before 6. Watch something for an hour while I get ready for work. And then by the time I'm at work, I'm like fully energized and ready for the day. Whereas previously, like, I'll be at work and I'll be like, oh, this is hard. Go wait to wake up here. This is hard work. And I've found it quite frustrating for me, but it's honestly this week could have just been a lucky strike, but this week so far so good.
Hey, that sounds great, man. Fair play to you.
Coming up on today's news, with the exception of my sleeping habits, we've got news on new songs from Architects and Coheed in Cambria, and we've got album reviews coming from Vakovi and Harakiri for the Sky. Before we get into the show, we should tell you how you can support us, and the best way to do that is by liking slash subscribing on YouTube or whichever podcast service you use to listen slash watch. You can follow us on X at Noise Podcast, as well as following the Noise platform in general at Noise UK on X, Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky. You should head to noise.co.uk for all your latest news, album reviews, features, and interviews. And then, just finally, before we begin, big thank you to friends of the show, Liquid Death, for being our favourite thirst murderers. I'm smashing my way through the mango chainsaw can as we speak.
As
I
as am
believe
I.
you've also got the same flavour.
As am I, yes.
Beautiful kick to it, isn't there?
Yeah, it's really nice.
Mm.
Really, really nice. Zesty.
Yeah, it just the right level of flavour. I think I do prefer severed lime just slightly,
Yeah,
but
me
there's
too. Me
something
too.
to this mango chainsaw, man. Let me get a third sip in. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Right, we're going to close out the show with Harakiri for the Sky, Scorched Earth. It's also out on January 24th via AOP Records. It's the band's sixth full-length record and the follow-up to 2021's Mare. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. Sam, this is your first experience of Harakiri for the Sky.
It was.
Can you believe they're a two-piece?
Shut up.
They're a two-piece.
No, they're
It's
not.
hilarious.
No, they're
It's
not.
hilarious, isn't it? Matthias writes all the guitars, all the bass, and all the drums.
But how do they play
And
live then?
oh, they've got session musicians that go live with them, and JJ does all the vocals. Can you believe that every instrument on this album is written by Matthias? It's insane, isn't it?
What? No. Oh my God.
It's
Well,
unbelievable.
well, yeah. That I can't believe I'm actually more impressed by the record now. Um,
It's ridiculous, isn't it? Like every instrument on this album is written by Matthias.
all right,
It's
Chris.
it's unbelievable.
Jesus wept. I love this.
Oh
Is it
mate, it's
is there
amazing.
any surprise, by the way?
This album is
Um,
incredible. This album is
it's a
unbelievable.
masterpiece, Chris. This is.
It's amazing.
It's
It's ridiculous.
unbelievable. Um, I started listening to this and I was like, oh, it's like Svalbard adjacent, right? The first time I
Yeah.
sort of heard it, and then rotate to the vocals and stuff, and I was like, oh, they've added the piano in. That's nice. And then I'm like, oh, this drum breakdown's really good, and fucking hell, this concluded segment's fantastic. What a powerful finish. Then the guitar
Yeah.
work's kicking in, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, what is happening? Like, and then the second
Yeah.
song, I was like, I then loved the opening. And then, all right, I want to talk about this sort of like structurally, if that's okay, and then sort of talk about it sort of individually, right? What I really like is this tickles my brain from a songwriting standpoint, is how layered the songwriting is, right? So what you'll get is I want to talk about using "Keep Me Longing" as an example, right? Um, you've got the main sort of melody, and then they'll repackage it with piano, and then they'll repackage it with drums, and then they'll bring the piano in, and then they'll bring it back with clean, and it's the same circular melody but like differently, and it's so it maintains this central theme of the song, but completely doing it with different stuff, and it makes sense actually now that it's one guy because you can actually hear how beautifully it all fades together because it's not. You know, sometimes when songs are written by four or five different people, there's like a too many cooks in the kitchen thing where it just sort of jumps and splices from idea to idea. There's such a lovely thread and connective tissue to every part of this that actually, now that I'm thinking about it, like it makes sense that it's one real person. It's a circular narrative that happens at the end of Keep Me Longing. It's just unbelievable. And back to the end, it's just perfect. And then you listen to, oh my God. I could do this. I could do this for all of them, but I just want to talk to you, please, about with Autumn Surrender, please,
Right.
because
Yeah.
the clean guitar in the middle of this with the melody
Yeah.
that then stops and kicks in with the same melody with the whole band that then builds and builds and builds, but never gets boring, but completely changes every 4 to 8 bars and comes back in with the chords is incredible. It's utterly incredible. It's the best new song I've heard this year, and it's part of the best album I've heard so far this year. The only criticism I had for this, and I was this close to coming on and being like, it's flawless. Like, is the at times the song "I Was Just Another Promise You Couldn't Keep" felt a little bit like album tracky in terms of the riffs, and it felt a little bit like when we got to "Too Late for Goodbyes." It felt a little bit like they were following a similar blueprint with the needle guitar as like as a transition a lot. But then I got to the end and I heard him do a cover of Radiohead, and that blew my head off. Um, I just
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
and I was just like, what is this? What is happening now? What is happening now? This is this is some of the best songwriting I've heard in ages. This is reminiscent of the first time I heard like Oceans of Slumber and the first time I heard Periphery properly, and I really delved in, and I was like, I didn't even know that you could be capable of producing music that sounds like this and blends together because it's got all the energy and intensity of Svalbard, but with this prog metal temperament that sort of extends the songs. But truly, the clean guitar work that then builds to the bigger moments in this. There are so many just moments of proper beauty. like No Graves But the Sea, Without You, I'm Just a Sad Song. The first five songs of this are just utterly perfect, utterly perfect that I could put on and listen to at any time. This is astonishingly good. This is really, really astonishingly good. I couldn't. I'm like effusive with praise about this record. It's amazing.
There's there's so many moments on this album, and I was thinking about how should I start when this review with Sam, and I was gonna say to you, this album is just beautiful, isn't it? That's how I was gonna start it. Like it's just beautiful, isn't it? This album. Like if you we could, if someone cared enough, they could put a counter as to how many times I'm gonna say that adjective while I'm talking about this record. But it's there's just so much beauty on this album. It's an unbelievably rewarding listen.
Yes.
And this is coming from me. Some of the songs here are like 10.5 minutes. And we,
Yeah.
former listeners to the show and our previous show, we well aware that I struggle with prog sometimes. Not for a millisecond of this album.
No, no. But
Keep
it
me,
races
keep
by.
me longing. Keep me longing. The way they build that piano.
Oh my God. And bring
Oh
it
my God.
back.
It's so good. We've spoken a lot about Matthias, rightfully so. I mean, I said he writes or definitely plays all the guitar, bass, and drums, but I'm not sure if he writes all of it and whether JJ mentioned or whether JJ has a part in the writing of them. I know Matthias definitely plays them all. The reason why I mentioned it is because we haven't really mentioned JJ yet, but on Keep Me Longing, there's this kind of ache, isn't there, to his
Mm.
vocal sound,
Yes.
and
Yes, there is.
it just implores such a level of passion. You've already got these kind of beautiful, uplifting soundscapes, and you've got JJ's ache to his vocal that runs over the top of it. Honestly, there's a on Keep Me Longing, about 6 minutes in, there's a clean riff from Matthias that acts as like a bridge into the crescendo, and it's unbelievable. It's like it's amazing. And there's an instrumental that randomly comes out of nowhere on this album after like the 6 minute mark as well. It's so good. My favorite song was Without You, I'm Just a Sad Song. The way it opens, that kind of tranquil build, and then it uses this massive lead riff. It's like a tectonic plate of a lead riff. Honestly, it's just this seamless combination of pain, reluctance, passion in this 10 minutes of complexity. Just this smorgasbord of stunning musicianship. You mentioned that I was just going to promise that you couldn't keep was a moment where you could have just pick out one slight little fault. My favourite riff on the entire album is on that song at
Oh
the
yeah.
2 minute mark. It's just this really, yeah, just really technical, melodious kind of lead riff pick. It's so nice. Every time I've listened to this album, I've rewound the track like 3 or 4 times to listen to the lead riff that comes at about the 2 minute mark. I'm kind of borderline obsessed with it. Um, and then what's really class is that they bring the same riff back for the bridge into the crescendo. And they're
Yeah,
amazing
that's
at
the
doing
thing.
that, aren't they? This
Yeah.
duo.
Yeah.
They know what the centerpiece is of the song, and then they'll bring it back for when they want the huge climax to happen. And but they'll do it in like in a different octave or just a slightly different tonality or different time signature. It's unbelievable. This album is. And then right, I was getting with the first time I listened to it, I'm getting towards the end, and I look to my left to look at the track list, and I'm like, featuring Svalbard. Hang on. I'm listening to something I already love, and then you're gonna have Serena Cherry feature on it as well. It's like, do you want Marvel and pro wrestling? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like two things I love meshed together, and
Wow,
and guess
God, that's
what? Too
Iron
Late for
Man's
Goodbyes
music.
with Serena Cherry. Like just Serena, like honestly, Too Late for Goodbyes with like Serena Cherry.
Mm.
It's unbelievable.
It's
It's
perfect.
amazing, and she's a perfect fit. She's a perfect
Yeah.
fit for the track. It's a nice change up in melody and tonality, and a nice change to kind of have a slight little breakaway from JJ's pain and passion for just 2 minutes. It's unbelievable. The whole album is just ridiculous. Like it, I've listened to three. including this Harakiri from the Sky records. I listened to Mare and I remember really liking Mare. This blows Mare. This is ridiculous. This has to be the best. If this isn't the best album that I've ever written, can you just let me know in the comments which one is? Because if it's better than this, honestly, it's
Yeah,
like
I'll
a
get it
life
tattooed on my
change, isn't it good?
chest.
This honestly, this is a special piece of music, isn't it? This Sam, this is
Yeah,
an
yeah.
hour and 10 minutes long, and it's just a special moment in music.
Yeah, I completely agree. Also, I thought we'll sort this through. They call themselves like post black metal. Is their like their
Yeah,
base of what's going on, right? From a
yeah,
genre. The gap between this and black metal, from a genre standpoint, is
yeah,
stunning. It's
yeah, yeah,
stunning. It's like where I listen to it. I actually listened to just out of curiosity, I listened to the other record that we got sent alongside Harakiri, which is a traditional black metal record, which was perfectly good, quite enjoyable at
yeah,
times. Um, and but this,
yeah.
it's like the first time we invented we had
Algebra.
bread for ages, and someone was like, you can slice that. Um, it's like
Yeah,
what is happening? Like, yeah, it just feels like a complete transcendent. To even say that it's with the same world is just astonishing to me. But yeah, the best. I don't know how to summarize it, and I think that is the best way I could sort of talk about it. It's not really where I can be like the vocals are really good or this particular guitar is really good. You have to experience it in its whole for a start. You have to experience it like a tapestry of music. You have to sit down and really dedicate an hour to it where you're just doing that. This is a headphones listen, like
yeah.
clear an hour, like do you know what I mean? Throw the headphones in and really, really immerse yourself into this. Um, this is as good as it gets from like a songwriting standpoint in modern metal, without it feeling derivative, without it feeling familiar, without it feeling particularly repetitive. Despite, by the way, we are talking about one of the best qualities of this song, one of the best qualities of this album is repeating melodies that
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
feel repetitive. How is that? How is that possible? How is that possible? Like, usually as well, because it's just the way my mind works. If I spot something a couple of times, I'm like, all right, don't do that again. Because I know it now, I understand it. Like, just do something else. But this, I'm like, bring it back. Let's go. Let's do this. The layering, the songwriting transitions, how seamlessly it moves, the musicianship, the emotion. This is as good as it gets from a prog metal, post black metal album I've heard for ages. Saying now this is going to be a top five record for me this year. Like sound, no problems whatsoever.
Stunning piece of like really, really ethereal piece of music. I honestly, even for someone who's not massive on prog and extended instrumentations, this is a moment for me. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece of music.
Completely agreed, bud.
That's where we're going to leave it for episode 9 of 45 Minutes of Noise. We are going to be back in 2 weeks' time. We're going to be talking about new records from Bleeding Through and Lacuna Coil. We will also be fresh
Bloody hell,
off.
what year is it?
I know, yeah. We're also going to be fresh off seeing Bullet from Valentine Trivium, so we can have lots to talk about there.
We're also going to be
Quick
discussing
reminder for
David
you.
Beckham's move to Manchester to Real Madrid, aren't we, or something?
um, quick reminder how you can support us. You can support us by liking slash subscribing, depending on whichever service you are using to listen or watch us. You can follow us on X at Noise Podcast. You can follow the Noise platform in general on X at Noise UK, Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky. You should head to noise.co.uk for all your latest news, album reviews, features, and interviews. And one final thank you to our friends Liquid Death for being our favourite thirst murderers. Thanks for being along for the ride for this episode. We are going to be back in 2 weeks' time. Keep it heavy. We will see you in 2 weeks to talk about Bleeding Through and the Kuna Coil. Take care. Bye.